All right. Oh,
I never know what that means.
none.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I even put an extra die into diplomatic negotiation. All right.
And so, Jerry, you got a 1. Okay. Helma.
Yep, got one.
Oh, no, Helma disappeared.
Oh. Chance.
Are you guys still hearing the echo, by the way?
I am not
As we play?
entirely certain.
Every now and then, that's
Right,
the
a
weird
little
part.
bit. But I'm not going to make a
I'm
big
trying
deal
to
out of it.
ice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's not overwhelmingly bad considering some of the sound that I've inflicted on viewers. So that brings us to Helma. I don't know whether your roll succeeded or not.
Success.
Okay.
And I want to be surprised by you.
Mm-hmm. So
I'm taking a die.
Okay. You're taking the die. Jerry, are you going to talk or do you want to take the die?
I got to take the die.
Okay. I'm sucking wind.
I'm running lean right now.
Okay. Oh man, so I got to do all kinds of talking. So so here I go. I'll try to keep it very straightforward. The good news for Carnivix is that after some time of evading pursuit, and that includes punching buttons, setting up distractions, and then physically, so we get a pretty good look at Carnivix as, pretty good at using this bedlam to his advantage. Little miscommunication, stuff like that. What you're going to get to has a name. If I can find the right little book. There. So I'm going to draw on this. I'm drawing on this. I'm drawing on this portion of this supplement that I've got, that I've been sort of loosely using. You were in an area that was called the Roundabout, which is a set of interlinked, repurposed caverns. That's what you were in before. And it's got all these multiple levels. It's got a very vertical orientation. And the levels aren't like human floors where they're blocked off from each other. It's, the levels. It's kind of like the levels in Avix mines are turned sideways, right? So anyway, there's a cool map right here. We go. Right there's the roundabout. So just sort of turning that into Avix thinking. There's all these kind of little caverns that go up, and they get more and more architectural as you go up. You have won into the area that, in this book anyway, is called Guildholm and Mid City. And this is far, far more residential and market oriented, and this is where this goes up through considerable vertical space. So you're only in like one part of it. You can't like walk around everywhere. It's considerable vertical extension of this. But there are a remarkable amount of Avix here, and there are things that you have never seen, like beautiful civic parks and monuments and administrative, social space, political buildings, and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's almost like you're like, oh, so this is life here. And remember that it's not enclosed like it is in this supplement. Instead, it is there's openings, to the sky all over the place. Big ones, little ones. Some of the routes to go up are actually up along the side rather than inside. And there is the one thing I will say is that the central structure, the vertical central structure, which is very modular, it's got different bubbles and different enclosures and stuff like that, even has like whole floors and neighborhoods, if you will, of its own, is this central structure running up and down. And it seems to get more elaborate as it goes up. So in the book, it's called Castle Well. And in the book, they're all very like horizontal, and I'm kind of I'm stretching everything vertically, right, from what I'm reading here. That is, so you are in the lower levels of this whole kind of guild home markety, but you're maybe rather astonished. Oh, and the way people are flying. I mean, the place is full. Anybody is flying right now. There seems to be some sort of security lockdown. People are leaving their places of work, leaving their schools, leaving public places, and flying to some destinations that apparently they know they're supposed to go to. So there is a security response going on inside the tower right now. Media is everywhere. You can find out anything you want, subject to the opinion of whoever is providing it at any time. So it's pretty spectacular. I mean, we can even see like Carnivix, like on a ladder rung or something, kind of looking up at this massive, strangely open and enclosed space. But as far as getting somewhere where you can actually be secure or whatever, it's fairly easy to be swept up with anybody who is going into into perhaps like a public safety enclosure or an area that's repurposed for containment and disaster safety. So yes, you're best off going with a crowd of people, because this, for the first time too, you don't look like anybody here. Right, this is very different. So you have got to get as anonymously out of people's sight as possible. Jerry, concepts or any idea?
For me?
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to say something or offer something.
Oh no, I'm just the mind's working on how to flip this for my own personal benefit later on.
So for purposes of me narrating what happens, did you want to be somewhere where you can actually exert some kind of pressure or some kind of activity?
Yeah, I need to be someplace where I can communicate with down below.
Got it.
With Freetown.
No problem. You can actually manage to be somewhere where there's a great deal. In fact, there might be even like an enclave of people who are reporting. They're only allowed to be in certain places. They don't let the journalists and bloggers roam freely, right? The security guys are being kind of harsh about this, and in fact will even be like transporting people and dropping them. They don't mind dropping people because they can just flutter, right? I mean, it's not cruel to drop somebody. So it's like pick someone up and like drop them into this space, which I'm thinking of as embedded up against the side of the tower, and perhaps is kind of a nice public park. It's just easy to defend and easy to evacuate. So all the journal people, all the recording people are being transported there. And since it's kind of a confused flutter of everything, it's not too hard for you to like find your, to figure that out and climb up there and get into that space. So finally, that brings us to Hibu. yeah, sadly, you will be able to communicate with Lexi and Ka and people who are associated with them. So here's the dialogue, and it's like, "Mother, you've lost your way. You know, we will honor your memory." Um, and and
Rough.
then and Ka makes a ritual gesture toward you, which is very much the gesture of, um, well, my enemy, good, bad aside, history aside, it's time for you to die. So that's one of their, yeah. It's actually fairly, it's a ritual you make before you kill someone. It's not,
Yeah, yeah.
it's an indication that they're
It's all
not
right.
going to be passive about this sentiment.
Eva will just take a stand as many parents before her that she will have to slap down children in a mighty way. All right, fair enough.
Right. So that puts us all into our. Oh yes. Well, now I can talk a little bit about some consequential themes. Um, there is going to erupt a leadership and policy confrontation of extraordinary significance up in the upper tower. Whatever Hebo and Nikan Geekskall do tends to lead to one of those. Um, so that is occurring. Um, right. There are attacks upon Hebu's organization or organized assault on the tower. There are attacks upon it not from immediate resistance to it, but from other Freetown factions. Lalak will appear and says, I need, um, what I need massive, offensive firepower. Um, the the I don't know what I mean. I can be crap with my the talons of light, right, are have mobilized and are hitting us hard. We have to drive them back, or they're going to be here very soon. And idealistic fools, with their visions of, their visions of their utopian notions. They're trying to take over. They're trying they're hitting us hard. We've got fighting. We've got explosions. We've got all manner of trouble, basically. So right, and at this point, um, corresponding to this, up there in the area that you're in, one of the journalists is frantically reporting on how a particular political action group among the avixes in the tower have revealed that they have a stockpile of weaponry, and they are going down to, in solidarity with their brothers, the Talons of Light, are going to go down and deliver them tons of weaponry, and all these Avix have just like left in this huge flutter of a huge flutter of effort, and where they left from suddenly explodes with a bang. So, and that leads to panic, in this portion of the tower. All the journalists are talking all about this, and statements from the Talons of Light over the years show their aims, blah 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 blah. So there's all these. You recognize that that these Tower Avics idealize a particular faction down in Freetown and are now going down to support them, and that's the same faction which is attacking Hibu right now. And Lalek is saying, we have to deal with this. I mean, we're splintering all over the place. What are you doing on the phone? There's, come on, exactly. Come on, Hibu, we have to organize this. Help us out here.
I was trying. Right. It didn't work. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm sure I know where some, with my background in the military here, that maybe I know of some caches somewhere that art is, maybe haven't been broken into yet. Maybe I'll try to lead a force there.
Okay. So therefore, some kind of defensive organization against the Talons of Light, and also, you don't know yet that they're about to be joined by, a battle force from above, and also your own, as I said, your own social efforts here are in constant danger of splintering as people miscommunicate or panic or get over enthusiastic about something or other or whatever. So therefore, fortunately, the Talons of Light are exactly the same. So you're not up against, a trained military force, at least not yet. So that's our situation with those. And if we take a look then, sorry.
Are we all aware of what's going on?
No,
well,
you know what the journalists are saying, and they have a very Tower perspective. They don't know a thing about what the real Talons of Light are like down in Freetown. They know what the sort of, shall we say, very, very, very well-meaning activists of the Tower, they know what they're about. So the way they describe them, you're listening to them reporting on this, and the way they're describing them isn't exactly the Talons of Light that you're familiar with. Right. But the news that, hundreds and hundreds of Avics are now going to drop, each armed with, with weaponry of some kind, drop straight down into the conflict below is not exactly good news. So that's occurring. And you do know about that. Yes, and then we go to Helma, and I'm very interested. Yes. Well, yes, although I was going to mention,
just wondering.
Yeah, there are things going up on into the tower, but there's no way for you to know. Well, wait. Sorry.
I'm still trying to communicate.
Right. Well, you succeeded.
Kind of successful.
Oh, yes, and I haven't narrated it. Right. Okay. Well, good. Well, okay. Yes. Good. This is good because I need to give you the effects of it. So the effects of this are quite clear, actually. You do manage to upload this, reorienting Nizanalotl and her power structure, who instantly mobilize and can repurpose the security of the tower at the top levels, the policy levels. Can repurpose them from kind of Omak's influence toward Lexi and Ka. So therefore, and so Nizanalotl will say, look, we're facing, a set of assassinations and political maneuvers among all the departments right now. And what you just told me is everything I need to know. So therefore, you have completely changed the balance of power in those policy-making spheres, which are no longer just manipulated votes and, committee meetings and consensus and public polling. No, that's over. Now it's assassinations and mergers of departments and that are physically accomplished and then administratively, relabeled later. So it's not open war, but there are maneuverings that are quite violent and quite forceful. And Nizanalotl is now oriented by you and knows exactly whom she's up against and has lots of names to work with now. So that's happening up there. On the other hand, you've also provided her with much more context of what is occurring. And that's actually really important. One group up there now has the information, much more information than other groups, and they are better oriented about its causes. So that actually, as the game master, I don't roll for anything in the pool. All I'm doing is looking at my bubbles and saying, this bubble got a lot more powerful than that bubble that, there were arrows pointing at each other, and this one just got bigger. That's going to tell the story for me. All right. You guys going to make me narrate everything? I'm tired.
Yeah, sorry. But at least one clarification. Would I have gotten some kind of confirmation?
Yes. Good point. Yes, I want to say Nizanoloto looks at you and says, and lets you, you can actually, she will come on board, mentally, and say to you, you have done, this is fantastic. You have done everything we needed. We could not have guessed any of this. And finishes by saying, come back to us.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, I've got my arrows, got my things. All I need to know is what holes you punch in what, and who punches holes in you at this point.
Well, if I have access to communications, I'm gonna try to get a hold of what is their name? The reporter person.
The one down in Fenta?
Yes.
Yeah, Oaxa. It was actually a guy. It was a male character, but yeah.
Influencer and newscaster.
Right.
Okay. Yes.